At this moment, Nancy's mind went blank, the misunderstanding seemed cleared, the tension lingered. By the river, his decorations lay, when Fred appeared, opening a new world for Nancy. His gentle recall of their wedding spat was like wielding a trust superpower he had mastered. He stopped asking, hoping Nancy could fix the broken bracelet and everything would return to normal. Nancy tried hard to stay calm, promising herself that she would become a wife worthy of Fred, secretly grateful for everything she had, while appearing calm on the outside. But while she looked calm, images of the doctor, his gaze, his voice, their intimate moments swelled in her mind like an unstoppable tide of longing. The doctor's desire to care became overwhelming, and he could no longer resist dialing. He muttered to himself, feeling as if his life were trapped in carbon monoxide, slowly suffocating without even realizing it. If Nancy left Fred for him, the townsfolk would surely stir up some trouble. But Nancy declared, at least we would be living our truth, not just existing. Nancy confidently replied that she wouldn't lose custody of her child. But the doctor knew better. This was not just a family matter, but also a power struggle. Fred was Harry's dad. Under the town's moral standards, Fred could easily lead the charge toward divorce. If Nancy could see her child once a month, she would indeed be considered a very lucky lady. Upon hearing this, she didn't back down. Instead, she quietly shared her plan with the doctor. Fred was going on a work trip to Greenville, and she was determined to follow him, armed with a camera like a private investigator, ready to capture the evidence. As long as she could snap solid proof of his infidelity, she'd be able to flip the script completely. Nancy arrived at a hotel and, while Fred stepped out, she snuck into his room, pretending to be his wife. She stumbled upon some bizarre items: handcuffs, men's underwear, and dog food, adding to her bewilderment. What exactly do these items suggest? Are they indicative of a peculiar hobby, or do they conceal something even more sinister? Nancy needed to rush home to pick up Harry, but on the way, a detail suddenly clicked in her mind. She recalled seeing a photo in Fred's office that night, labeled Lacey Ann, Queen of Bologna. When she returned home, she found her husband had a model identical to the one in the photo, also with Lacey Ann inscribed on it. Initially, she thought Fred was fooling around with Annie, but things turned out to be a lot more complicated than that. She dialed the number from the model, only to be met by a man's voice that struck her like lightning. Annie had gone missing 3 years ago and was later found dead, confirming suspicions of foul play. The news hit Nancy's heart like a sledgehammer. She realized this wasn't just an affair, but possibly a long-buried murder. She dug up another photo of a woman taken from Fred's office at night, and the house in the background appeared again in the model. By comparing the addresses and the models, the truth behind the missing persons began to surface, with many victims already identified. With trembling fingers, she scoured old news stories, piecing together a chilling truth. Fred wasn't just cheating, he was a soul killer. Another doctor followed the trail of Fred and eventually tracked him down to a secluded cottage in the woods. Dr. Dogo caught a glimpse of Fred and a woman getting cozy and happily pulled out his camera to capture the moment. Nancy wanted to warn the doctor about the danger, but at that moment, he left his phone in the car to avoid disruption. Unsatisfied with just peeping from the window, he decided to go deeper and snuck inside for the evidence. To his shock, he found Fred standing by the bed, emotionless, dismembering the owner's body. Blood splattered across the floor. The doctor froze in shock and hadn't even registered it before Fred noticed them. The doctor attempted to flee but was pounced on by Fred from behind, with a knife plunged into his abdomen. He struggled to get up, making a dash for the river, only to be kicked down by Fred, blood gushing uncontrollably. He jumped into the river, the chains falling away, and the doctor finally reached Nancy's door. Upon seeing him, Nancy sighed with relief and pulled him inside, hoping it was all just a misunderstanding. She wished to hear "it's not what you think" instead of the truth she dreaded most. The doctor's silence delivered a clear answer, confirming Nancy's fears. She instantly asked if they were safe, and the doctor reassured her that everything was fine now. Curious about how he managed that, she pressed for details, and he slowly explained how he confronted Fred. He laid all the evidence before Fred, threatening to expose the truth if he didn't vanish without a trace. Fred eventually chose to leave, and the doctor helped Nancy pack her bags, ready to leave with her child. But Nancy refused. She knew they couldn't just up and leave. They had to wait until the financial matters were sorted out before taking any action. Because if the truth came out, not only her reputation would be at stake, but Tara's future too.